Now, one of South Africa's busiest highways, the N3 freeway, is already experiencing some backlogs. Newzroom Afrika's Ziniko Mhlaba is tracking the story and joins us live. Ziniko, a very good morning to you. A lot of caution and precautionary measures taken by the Transport Department to ensure that the number of accidents are reduced this year. As you track what's happening out on the roads, what can you see?
Well, good morning to you, Paul. Obviously, this is the busiest highway in South Africa, and that's the N3, which is connecting Johannesburg and Durban. So, if you're traveling all the way from Johannesburg to KZN, especially the southern parts of KwaZulu-Natal, you have to use this particular highway. But also, the logistics sector is highly dependent on this particular highway in terms of using this highway to transport goods from Johannesburg and some parts of the Free State and all the way to various ports here there in KwaZulu-Natal. Just step out of shot so that will give you, a sense of the number of vehicles that are passing by. So we're actually now between, on the border of Gauteng province and the northern parts of KwaZulu-Natal. That's where we are located. We're making our way to that Villas toll gate where the press briefing will be presided over by Minister of Transport Chikunga. So as far as we have been noticing the patterns of traffic jams, so where we are now, it's been cleared. When we got here about 10 minutes ago, it was jam-packed because of the number of law enforcement officers who were deployed to come and check and just ensure that the traffic flows frequently. So they've moved towards the southern end of this particular highway. So that's where we're expecting another traffic jam, which usually lasts about 30 minutes or so. So in the next 30 minutes, we will find ourselves in another, block in terms of traffic officials trying to check whether all the vehicles that are traveling on this road are registered correctly, and if the drivers are under any influence, and obviously if all the legal documents which are needed for one to be on the national roads or any roads in South Africa have all those documents in place. So we'll get that sense from the Minister of Transport Chikunga in terms of whether the measures which have been put in place since the start of December and late November have been yielding any results. However, we have not heard or reported any major incident in terms of fatalities so far. So that's a good indication. That's a positive, but we still have about 15 days before the end of this particular season. So we'll see if we'll still end this particular festive season without any major incident. By major incidents, I'm talking about fatalities of vehicles that have fatalities of more than 5 or 6 or 7, as we've seen in previous years. So far, it's a good story to tell as far as government's initiatives and measures in place, but we'll see if the road users will still abide. And obviously, the towns that are dependent on this particular road, I'm talking about, Harry Smith, I'm talking about Dundee, I'm talking about Pietermaritzburg, and all those are KZN towns. But also, if you are living in the Eastern Cape, in the eastern parts of the Eastern Cape, such as Matatiele, such as Port St. John's, and all the other towns in the eastern parts of the Eastern Cape, they also use this particular road. So in the next hours or so, because it's still early now, it's not even 12 o'clock, and most of those vehicles depart from Johannesburg just after 12 into the afternoon. So we're expecting very serious traffic jams along the N3, especially after lunchtime, because that's where many people will be departing Johannesburg, and they'll be making it to this part of where we are, is part of this N3 at about 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. up until 6 p.m. That's where they'll be here in Mpumalanga and Free State, because the N3 does go through those two provinces as well before it reaches KZN. And so that's where we are so far. We'll continue driving towards the southern part of this N3. That's where we'll be expecting to meet up with the minister so that she gives us insights on how their measures have been working, how have we been behaving as road users so far, Paul.
Very well, Ziniko Mhlaba. We'll catch up with you then. Of course, what's also been interesting to take stock of as you speak to me is the number of trucks behind you, Ziniko. And that, of course, has also been really a word of caution sent out on the behavior of truck drivers and their involvement in accidents.